It is 5:44.
Ah, too late. Took us an hour to get up to here.
Yeah, we wanted to get here and leave at 5. But the road took a little bit longer, although we did drive up the switchbacks pretty far, so that helped a lot.
Indeed.
Cut off some time.
All right.
So here it is, 5:40, on our way up to Lincoln Peak.
Let's talk more action. All right, away. All right, Ian. What you think?
We got it.
Looks like light work for us. No crevasse,
We'll see. It looks
nothing.
pretty doable. Lunchtime.
Just got done with a leisurely lunch break. How long have we been here? Like 45 minutes? Just up the last of our fuel. We got 1,500 feet to go to the summit. right, about 300 feet from the top. Ian went over here in the sun. I'm going the risky way, staying in the shade over here. But we're almost there, and we are worked. Post holing takes it out of you twice as fast. Maybe 3 times as fast, potentially. There could be potential for a factor of 3 fatigue. Yeah, buddy. Top of Lincoln Peak. Easiest route. This is not always actually the easiest.
Lesson learned. Yeah.
Oh, that's far, dude. Like, so Alright, Ian, 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
on top.
That's right.
What do you think so far?
Definitely not as difficult as we thought as far as technicality.
Not even close.
Oh yeah.
All packed up.
Yep.
Just did it. Summited. It was not hard. The descent was about as slushy as descents can be.
I'm all locked in, ready to go.
Are you? I reckon get snow in my pants. yeah.
We're done. We did it.
Back to the car. Let's get the heck out of here.
It's over.
Okay. Lincoln Peak via the standard route, ex-Couloir. Ian and I left my house in Wenatchee at 1 a.m. on Sunday, the 12th of May, and drove a little over 5 hours over to the trailhead for Lincoln Peak, which is on the Washington Difficult 10 list. We had other plans and switched at the last second to pursue this peak because I was confident we could do it in a day. And we only had the one day on Sunday, which is why we left at 1 a.m. So the trailhead is up this old logging road, switchbacks. You can find my GPX in the spot we started on my all trails here, as well as all the information, our splits, rating, and then a trip report write-up. Anyways, we made it all the way to the top of these logging road switchbacks, which it sounds like most people don't do. Most of the trip reports I read, they just made it to down here on the second one. And I'm not sure why. Somebody might have come through and trimmed the road, the brush back from the road before we went up there this year. But, I mean, it was a little rough. You'd want a truck or, something with moderately high clearance. You're not going to make it up there in a Prius, but it wasn't bad. We made it all the way up, which was great because it cut about 1,000 feet, maybe a little more, off our total vert for the day. Anyways, 5:45 a.m. we left the car, started up this part, which is actually another old logging road, but it's like completely washed over in places, and you can barely even tell it's a road most of the time. It's very overgrown. Skis on our backs. We had to fight through the alders as per usual on Ian and I's trips at this point. Bushwhack until we got to some snow up here on this last stretch of road that is a little bit more resemblant of an actual road. Anyways, we post-holed up that, got absolutely soaked until right here you turn and just start going up through the forest on steeper snow. Anyways, boot packed it up to about 5,000 feet. We switched to our skins as things leveled off a little bit on this plateau. Skinned up to here where you get your first view of Lincoln Peak. See if I can replicate that a little bit. And it looks close and honestly not that steep compared to what we were expecting. This being, reputed as the second most difficult peak in Washington. I was expecting this to be pretty intense. But anyways, we continued skinning up over, there's a little frozen lake right here that we went over the top of, and then up this slope to, we went left here. Don't do that. Just go to the obvious saddle. Don't try to do anything fancy. We're following a GPX track that they went this way also, and it's much easier. Just go through the saddle, and there's an exposed rock right here sticking up that we ate breakfast on. We debated taking skis actually from here to the top because it looked skiable, which would have been very hard. Like, that's really steep skiing, but it's definitely possible. I've seen a few trip reports of people doing it, and I think we probably could have pulled it off, but in the interest of saving time and me not wanting to do anything extremely risky for once, we ditched the skis, ditched some other gear that we didn't need. I switched from shorts to pants, and then 8:45 we made this traverse over to the base of the route, went up a little fourth class step right here that cut some time off, but you don't even have to do that. You could just go up the snow on the left through this gully. And then the endless snow slope started. The sun doesn't hit this face till about 11:30 a.m. This time of year, just because it's southwest facing, which is great because it reduces the rock fall and ice fall hazard, which is the biggest risk on this route by far, honestly. So the top looks super close. You can see the whole route almost this whole time boot packing up, but it just keeps seeming to get farther and farther away as we went up this slope. Eventually, a little under 7,000 feet, we stopped and ditched our rope in pro because we could see the whole route, and it was pretty evident that we would not be able to place good protection, and also that we wouldn't, we wouldn't even need the rope for rappels. It looked all down climbable that would be faster than rappelling. So ditched some weight there, and then just continued to slog up through the knee-deep slush and with breakable crust. We started cramping pretty good that those snow conditions just really take it out of you when you have to post hole. So we slowed down our pace, eventually made it to the bottom of the first couloir, and I kind of charged up that, and then found a good rock at 7,800 feet to take a lunch break on. So we spent some time there. The sun came over the ridge and hit, which felt amazing. But that also loosened up the snow, so no more crust. It was just like waist deep at times, partly because of the slope angle, but knee deep to waist deep slush, just making massive boot pack up. But we continued up. I think we left here a little before maybe 10 something. And you just traverse across the snowfield to the left and then up the second couloir. It's very obvious which way you need to go. And then the top of the second couloir takes you to another snowfield up here. And then you cross that to the left also, and then go up a final couloir that's pretty similar to the other ones, maybe slightly steeper, that basically dumps you off straight to the summit. The only thing we did wrong here, Ian went the right way, but I was so sunburnt that I wanted to stay in the shade, so I kind of went through this right couloir that was closer to the steep wall, and it was shaded, and the snow conditions were a lot firmer, so it was easier. That dumped me out on this little sub-summit pinnacle, and I had to like scoot across this tiny little snow arête with like massive 3,000, 4,000 feet of exposure on the right and 1,000 feet on the left, which sucked to do that solo. I don't like to do that kind of thing, but it could easily be avoided if you just followed the regular route to the left like a smart person, which Ian did. Got to the top at 1 p.m. It was really cool summit views actually on this peak. It's pretty exposed, more exposed than most other peaks we've done. I would say like similar to like Forbidden Peak, where you're just kind of like up there on a boulder. Great views of the standard route of Mount Baker. There's like 10-15 people going up that Roman wall section, which was cool. We hung out up there for a while, took some footage, and then started the long down climb. It took about 2 hours to get back to where we ditched our rope and everything, but we just, down climb post hold is too steep to glissade, so I didn't want to risk that and like getting into tomahawk all the way down to the bottom, because it's far. It's 3,000 feet from here down to where we took our breakfast break. So it's like deceptively very long route. Anyways, we down climbed down, got absolutely fried from the sun. I got sunburnt through my sunscreen. I only had SPF 70, which, I mean, it was probably fine, but still got sunburned. Anyways, picked up our rope and everything, continued to post hole down through here, and then once we got to this traverse, it was just absolute misery. The sun is just blasting us. And we slowly boot packed across back to our breakfast spot. I changed back into my shorts. We picked up all our stuff, ate some snacks, and then walked up to the top of this little pass and clipped into our skis. We were only able to ski maybe 1,000, 1,500 feet down before the forest got too dense, like down here, to where it just wasn't worth it anymore. I think the skis were still worth it overall. It saved us time, especially on the skin up. But we ended up having to boot pack this down and then through the road and then just reverse the bushwhack back to the car. So we got back at like 5:45 p.m. to the car, drove home by 10. Overall, this route, it was a lot easier than expected. I honestly just don't think it should be on the difficult 10 list, but that's a pretty unfounded opinion at this point because we've only done 2 out of the 10 difficult peaks, so I probably need to do the rest to get a correct impression. There are other peaks that aren't on the difficult 10 list that we've done that are harder than this, like Mount Good. I would say even the standard route, the 4th class way, was still way more sketchy than this. But also, there's something to be said about the conditions on this peak. We hit it like in good, safe conditions, but if you're trying to do this in like July, August, it would be misery because the rock quality it's volcanic rock. It's terrible. So maybe the guy that made the list tried to climb it in like August. I don't know. For a trip report, we used Steven Song and Matt Lemke. Steven Song's blog, I guess, or his list of all his trip reports is one of the best peak bagging resources of all time. In my opinion, the guys really thorough trip reports, a lot of times with the GPX track, which we used. And having a GPX track for a peak like this just takes so much of the unknown out of it, so much of the risk is reduced because you know where you're going. There's no question. And like the worst you can do is what they did, which is great. It makes this peak so much easier. Hats off to these guys who did it without a GPX track the first time. I mean, that's actually a real adventure. So thanks to them and Steven's great trip report. We used that. That said, if you're going to do this, download my GPX track. Probably we shaved off a few spots that made it a little shorter than what they did. But yeah, thanks to those guys. Gear-wise, I don't have anything too crazy or new on here. Just a typical one-day climb kit. Gloves, I got these Showa 282, like they're like ocean fishing gloves, like crabbing ocean fishing guys wear, and I heard that some people were using them for ice climbing. I would never use a different glove than this for anything that's not like extreme winter climbing. They're insulated, they're totally waterproof, and they performed 100 times better than my Black Diamond gloves, of which I've had several pairs that just soak through, or they're too heavy, or they get wet and then freeze and then are just miserable to put on in the morning. These are awesome, and they're like $30. So if you're a climber, there's no reason to get any glove other than this one. And you can even layer thin gloves inside of them. So they're a really good option. Highly recommend. Other than that, I took the Petzl goalies. Those were totally sufficient for this climb. I did take the pick weights, which were unnecessary. Unless you're climbing like alpine ice or water ice, you don't need pick weights for those even. So I could have saved some weight there. Other than that, I think that is, yeah, I think that's basically the full list of everything new that I tried out on this climb. Looking back, I mean, overall review of the climb, I only gave it 2 stars on All Trails. It was cool. It's really steep snow climbing and a really cool summit view, but the difficulty was just not nearly what we expected it to be. And there just weren't that many features that make this like a very unique climb, similar to the other ones we've done in recent memory. So unless you're like really going for the OG difficult 10 list, or you are just really looking for like specifically a very steep snow climb, I don't necessarily think there's a lot of reasons this peak would draw climbers, which makes sense because it's very rarely summited. So anyways, that said, if you're looking at doing it or doing the difficult 10 list, check out my All Trails profile. That's got a lot of good information on it at this point. And yeah, stay tuned to this YouTube channel. We got big things coming. So yeah, I guess subscribe and you will see. Thanks for watching.